Alrighty, we have the finals of the St. Louis Regional here, Masters Division VGC. We've got Matthew Carter against Wesley Morioka here. Wesley is actually the champion of 2010 U.S. Nationals.
2010 U.S. National Champion, and he also won the Fort Wayne Regional.
Yeah, the Fort Wayne Regional just a few months ago, so proving he's good in 3 different metagames now. I see Matt's team on the screen here, which is Talonflame, Zapdos, Chandelure, Kangaskhan, Abomasnow, and Mienshao.
Matt J has also played a really long time. He qualified for Worlds in both 2009 and 2010.
Some interesting Pokemon by Matt here. I mean, Talonflame is really, really common, and so is Kangaskhan, but I'd say all these other Pokemon are sort of more niche choices, so it's interesting to see they managed to make it so far with them, proving there's a lot of different ways you can be successful in this metagame. Chandelure especially is more popular on... Chandelure especially is more popular on Battle Spot and not so much in tournaments so far, so it's interesting to see it's doing so well here. And Zapdos is another Pokemon that very few people have used, but it actually made the finals of the previous regional in Virginia also, so apparently there's something about Zapdos that's pretty successful.
We should probably also mention, my name is Amarillo Caballero from Nugget Bridge, and this is Scott, also from Nugget Bridge.
Hooray! Going to the match here, so interesting to see what both players lead. Kangaskhan on Matt's side and Mienshao are both very common leads, so I'd expect we'll see one of those two here. And still not sure what Wesley's running.
Wesley starts with a Tyranitar and a Charizard. Both have the possibility of Mega-ing. Actually, with Kangaskhan and Abomasnow, all 4 Pokemon have a possibility of Mega-ing.
Yeah, not too often you see 4 Pokemon that can Mega Evolve there. Another thing that's really interesting, too, on Wesley's side is that we're seeing both Tyranitar and Charizard in the same team. With Charizard being mostly used for Drought, it's a little strange to see Tyranitar on the team, which cancels Drought.
I don't remember seeing 3 potential weather users in the same battle since 2010.
Yeah, it's really strange to see, and kind of a bit of a throwback with 2 throwback players here. We do also see that Tyranitar is slower than Abomasnow, with Sandstream activating after Snow Warning there. Some early pressure by Matt J with Kangaskhan here too. Almost certainly has Fake Out, so he's kind of got the upper hand here where Wesley has to react to him, at least for the first turn.
It'll be interesting to see what items the Abomasnow and the Tyranitar are, because Charizard and Kangaskhan are usually the more likely Mega, and there we see the Kangaskhan Mega. And the Kangaskhan actually Mega'd before Charizard, and Charizard's not Megaing at all. So we don't know Charizard's speed yet.
Just a scouting turn there for Wesley. Learns a lot about Matt J's team there. He gets the Mega Evolution, so he knows that Abomasnow is not going to Mega Evolve. And we see Icy Wind from Abomasnow, which is pretty cool. Icy Wind is all but gone from the metagame now because we lost the Generation 5, and I think also Generation 4 tutor that gave the move. But Abomasnow is an actual ice Pokemon. He can still learn it. He also doesn't give up any information there. So like Amarillo said before, one of the big pieces of information here is figuring out what Mega Wesley's going to use, and we still don't know anything, but he's got the information from the other side with Kangaskhan already Mega Evolving.
And now we know the Charizard is the Mega. Because Abomasnow used Icy Wind, Charizard can put pressure on both Pokemon with Heat Wave. It will definitely tank an Icy Wind. And that looks like a Scarf Abomasnow with Icy Wind.
It's a really original set. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Hammer Arm. That's an interesting move on Kangaskhan. And that's an easy KO, even without the crit.
Yeah, I mean, the critical hit on Kangaskhan with the first hit, the baby would do exactly the same damage anyway, so those never matter. But I love seeing that.
See? How much Heat Wave does to Kangaskhan? It should kill the Abomasnow. It does. It does about 60% to Kangaskhan.
Exciting turn there. A bunch of damage in Kangaskhan. 2 Pokemon being knocked out there. I do love Hammer Arm Kangaskhan. I was surprised I didn't see a little bit more of it here. I was actually running it also just because Tyranitar, actually, I think that situation we just saw is one of the main reasons why it's really good, because Power Up Punch doesn't normally get that knockout, whereas you easily get it with 1 hit of Hammer Arm. Other Kangaskhan also, if they're really offensively trained, Kangaskhan can knock them out in a single shot with Hammer Arm. think it takes like the full hit point investment and a bit of defense to avoid that. So it's a nice kind of anti-meta game against other Kangaskhan's. But I'd say Charizard still has the advantage here, especially because Kangaskhan slowed itself down. Will be interesting to see what the other Pokemon from Wesley are there. We still haven't seen his full team, so don't really know what his options are here.
And it's a Gardevoir and a Chandelure. The Chandelure obviously will probably Flash Fire, so it's not going to be taking much from Charizard. Gardevoir, the most common Gardevoir at the moment is probably Scarf. I ran that actually, and it can put pressure on both of these Pokemon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Scarf is definitely the most common. You can run it a bunch of different ways, too, because it gets a bunch of cooler support moves like Trick Room, but I know Grayson, also in the top 4, was using Scarf Gardevoir as well, and that's usually my assumption when I see one on Team Preview. So I guess until we see otherwise, that's what I'd expect here. Another Pokemon is a common Choice Scarf user, Chandelure, but we've already seen the Scarf from Matt, so it's got to be using something else. I'm not quite sure what it is.
And Charizard's going to retreat. I'm not surprised by that because of Chandelure.
A little surprised to see Overheat coming out on Gardevoir there, but it gets the KO. Wow.
And Chandelure went first. That means that Gardevoir is not Scarfed.
Yeah, it's some important information. Kind of the best of both worlds from Matt J there, because not only does he get the information that Gardevoir isn't Scarfed, but he doesn't give up anything to get it. He gets a free KO, so pretty perfect term for him.
Charizard comes back in, and this is a very dangerous spot for Wesley.
Yeah, I mean, even though... I mean, I think it's dangerous for both sides, because, I mean, Wesley's got to be really careful here, because, he's running out of turns of Sun. After 5 turns in XY, Drought will go away. It's not permanent any longer. And he's getting down to only 2 Pokemon, but the pressure is actually really good from that side of the field. Chandelure's 2 levels of special attack reduced. Kangaskhan's lower on health, and still has that speed drop from Hammer Arm. So Charizard and Garchomp can go on the offensive here and probably do a whole bunch of damage. I'd say the second most common Chandelure item is Focus Sash, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if Chandelure kind of messes with Wesley's plans here if he does try to go for a double knockout, though. Both sides hatching a lot of eggs, apparently, too.
I don't know how I feel about the little random facts in battles. I mean, I guess they're interesting, but they're also really distracting when you only have 45 seconds to make a move.
I love them. Not getting distracted, though. Both players managed to move this turn. See the sucker punch from Kangaskhan there. Oh, and a substitute from Garchomp. A great turn.
That's a very strong move by Wesley.
Yeah, so he gives up nothing to get a free substitute up. I'm really surprised we haven't seen more of Substitute Garchomp. I was actually talking with some other players about this in between the Swiss and the Top Cut. I think Substitute makes a lot of sense right now. There's a ton of Intimidate with Substitute blocks. There's a ton of Will-O-Wisp and a ton of Spore, which Substitute blocks. It just seems like there's tons of things in the metagame that make sense right now, but we've all kind of moved away from Substitute and Garchomp because we're all so afraid of Charizard mostly, so we need Rock Slide.
Which is kind of what I did, and maybe that's why I went 5-4.
Speaking of things that we're afraid of and need Rock Slide for, there's Talonflame.
And that Chandelure is sashed, but it's still probably not doing much damage to that Garchomp.
What if it's a double target? Ooh, great move. I mean, that's how you get to the regional finals right there. Double targeting the Chandelure. It correctly assumes that it has the Focus Sash without having seen it, and activates the Sash with Garchomp and breaks it with Charizard. And knowing that, again, that in addition to the Sash, that Chandelure probably has Flash Fire, like Amarillo mentioned, so he doesn't risk trying to use a Fire move there. Great turn by him. He ends up with the Substitute up again for free here, but Kangaskhan did shed that reduced level of speed from Hammer Arm. I know a lot of Hammer Arm Kangaskhan typically run slower, bulkier spreads, so it's likely that Charizard is faster than it is, but I don't think we've actually seen for sure yet. If it is, though, tough turn here. I mean, Talonflame should be able to knock out Charizard if it wants to, but it's going to take a lot of damage to do so, and if I remember correctly, Matt J doesn't use Life Orb on Talonflame, but I guess I'd have to see for sure. We never find out if Charizard is faster or not.
Oh, and he Brave Birds into the sub.
Yeah, it's Matt J who makes the great move here and doesn't attack into the Protect this time.
Let's see if Matt double targeted the Pokemon that didn't Protect.
Oh, just barely survives and gets the double edge off.
And a good move by Matt J, except now he's down 2 Pokemon to 1.
Yeah, but he still got a shot at it, though. That was a great double target by him. Interesting to see double edge from Kangaskhan also. The recoil, yeah, the trade-off of doing more damage there, though. Garchomp would have actually knocked it out with the rough skin anyway, so the damage is a pure positive there. But, really good move by both sides. That's, I guess both of the trainers have shown us now a really smart double target when the other side protects. And I guess that's kind of the flip side of the argument for substitute Garchomp is that having the substitute up really baits double targets. I know that's a lot of why people didn't like using it so much. That was exactly why Dimsun didn't use it in 2012 Worlds when he won Seniors, because it just attracts double targets. And there's one right there.
We'll see how much this Brave Bird does. Oh, it's going to go for the Garchomp. That's going to get a KO.
Charizard shouldn't be able to get it in one shot. They'll probably be really close here.
This will be close. It won't actually be close without the sun. But it may get into range where...
Well, this is really tight. You'll notice that Talonflame didn't take the Life Orb recoil there, so it has some other item. So I don't know if it will be able to knock Charizard out from here.
This is going to be really close.
Yeah, I think that as long as Wesley uses a fire move and doesn't miss, Charizard will survive this and knock Talonflame out if it doesn't feint to recoil. But it's going to be really tight. Could definitely go either way. This Talonflame could still have Choice Band, I think, which would also easily get the knockout, so I guess we'll find out if it does or not here.
It does not have Choice Band. And we see a crit. That is really interesting. We'll never know that damage roll.
The rare 0-0 victory for Matt J there. Because if anyone watching doesn't know, if you use a move that inflicts recoil on yourself, you do get the knockout. If you make the knockout, you do get the win. So other than
unless you're attacking into Rough Skin.
Yeah, Rough Skin and Iron Barbs have better priority. Yeah. So kind of a double whammy for Wesley there, because not only does he not win the game, but he doesn't get to learn, at least for sure, the item on Talonflame there. Like, that would have actually been a really important calculation. Even if he'd been knocked out anyway, would have got really important information for the second game, and he gets denied that by the critical hit. So that makes this next team a lot harder to play.
And Matt J's Talonflame is a Tailwind Talonflame. He used that in semifinals.
All right, so
it's not going to be Choice Bands.
Yeah, so very likely Wesley probably would have survived that. It's a tough break for him, but I think you'll probably see why he's a national champion in this game. I think a big part of best of 3 play, there's really 2 things. There's getting information, which he did get a decent bit of in that game. It's important for both sides because there's so many possible Pokemon who can Mega Evolve, but also, kind of resettling when something bad happens and focusing. I mean, it's easy to be really frustrated if you're Wesley right now. Like, you probably deserve to be up game 1 in this series, but that's not what happened. So he's gonna just kind of resettle, focus, and take care of the next 2 games here. Looking at Matt J's team here, I can't think of too many reasons based on the first game that he'd want to change up his Pokemon choice. I felt like he probably picked what he should have there. Mienshao seems like it's a little frail to try to deal with this team, though it is good against Charizard, so potentially worth considering for that reason, as well as Tyranitar.
And we saw from the team preview on Wesley's side that the 2 in his back are Magnetric and Trevenant. Do you think either of those would be helpful in this matchup for Game 2?
I mean, I'd heard great things about the Legend of Trevenant. I know that was a big deal in his round of 16 series, at least.
It does hard counter Kangaskhan.
Yeah, I mean, it's great against Kangaskhan. Though I think that the rest of Matt J's team really insulates it well. Trevenant's going to struggle against Abomasnow. It's going to struggle against Talonflame. It's going to struggle against Chandelure. So, I mean, I think he can bring it if he thinks that Kangaskhan's a big enough problem. But I don't think Kangaskhan was the reason that that game was so tight. And I think it'd probably take a little too much to pull off there, which is a pity because I think Trevenant's a really cool Pokemon. I'm glad to see it made it to the finals. Another undervalued XY Pokemon. The contrary to what I implied before, we do see Mienshao here in turn 1. And we do see one of the targets. I think one of the reasons why maybe Mienshao wasn't such a bad choice as it looked, I would be really hesitant ordinarily to pick Mienshao into Gardevoir because you expect it to be Scarfed and just knock it out with Psychic, especially because we saw that the Focus Sash was already in Chandelure. But we also saw that Gardevoir doesn't have that Choice Scarf, so Mienshao's a little bit safer than it would normally be here, and Talonflame is a big threat to both of these Pokemon.
And we saw in the semifinals that this is a Tailwind Talonflame. So a strategy that Matt J probably is going to use here is fake out in Tailwind and get the Rock Slide pressure onto Charizard.
Yeah, definitely expect to see that here. It does give a free turn for one of Matt's Pokemon if he goes that route, and both of them are pretty threatening here. As Charizard probably, unless it uses Overheat, won't be able to score a knockout in either Pokemon if it attacks, but Gardevoir definitely would. But it chooses to switch out instead. We'll see how that works out for him.
There's the fake out onto Gardevoir. And the Tailwind, just as I expected.
Yeah, so Matt gets the Tailwind for free there. It's a good play by him and maybe a little iffy play by Wesley there. I think if you're expecting the fake out Tailwind play, the obvious play is to fake out Gardevoir because you don't want to give up Mienshao for free. And Wesley knows he doesn't have a defensive item because he saw the Focus Sash last game. So, I mean, he doesn't really lose anything other than allowing the Tailwind up, but probably could have gotten a little more out of that turn there.
Neither of these Pokemon can one-shot either of Wesley's Pokemon, though.
Yeah, especially getting Garchomp out there. I mean, I do think it's good to get out in the field. I might have put it in the other slot, but not being threatened too much damage here. And Garchomp's Rock move should be able to knock out Talonflame in a single hit, just as Gardevoir's Psychic could knock out Mienshao, so they'll probably actually trade evenly here.
Except that Garchomp doesn't have Rock Slide.
That's right, yeah. I mean, I guess unless it's choosing not to use one of its same type attack bonus attacks.
We saw Dragon Claw and Earthquake.
Did we? Okay,
game.
so, yeah.
And there's the flinch. So
doesn't much matter then, does it?
And this is a Will-O-Wisp Gardevoir. It's probably a Trick Room version.
Yeah, so we do see the more supporty Gardevoir, I guess you'd expect without the Sash. That makes sense given some of the rest of his team, too. He's got a lot of bulkier Pokemon like Tyranitar and Trevenant, so, and Manectric even, too, really, so it makes sense. Will-O-Wisp is really strong in this metagame, too. Tons and tons of physical Pokemon, so having that burn option is really interesting. But Gardevoir itself is really weak on the physical side, even with the burn on Mienshao. A lot of damage being threatened the other way, and not too surprised to see it leaving here.
Manectric, there's the Pokemon that we were interested in seeing.
I didn't quite get to get through it in the pregame there. I do think Manectric could help a lot in this matchup, but it's going to take a whole lot of damage just to enter the field.
And I'm surprised how much damage that did without Life Orb and Manectric resisting Flying type.
It makes you appreciate both Talonflame's damage, or at least I guess Brave Bird's damage is pretty respectable, and Manectric's defense really isn't. Ooh, a critical hit the other way here. Garchomp making plays.
Talonflame does survive enough to get a Brave Bird off. It will sacrifice itself in doing so, but it should be able to trade evenly against the Garchomp.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing about it, Matt J's going to have to consider trying to keep Talonflame alive here as well, just because this should be the last turn of Tailwind. So if he wants to get it back up, he's got to preserve Talonflame just a little while longer. He may not need to do that. We don't know his back Pokemon, but he's going to have to read this turn right now and figure out, is it worth it to get Talonflame off of the field and get something that's healthy and a little more threatening out there, or should I try and conserve it and get Tailwind up again?
He also needs to think about keeping Mienshao safe because Charizard is in the back.
Right, and it's also his only fake-out threat, which kind of helps him get some control here. I guess he probably has Kangaskhan in the back. And Manectric will also almost definitely Mega Evolve. I guess not yet, but will Mega Evolve at some point in this battle, I'm sure, and having something faster than it would be a big deal.
And a feint. A great play from Matt J. Let's see if he Brave Birded Manectric. Flare Blitz.
That'll do more than enough damage.
That works too.
I mean, it's actually a much better play, I think, because it had Manectric Mega Evolve, that would have been really close with the Intimidate, so very good play by him. And
it's going to sacrifice its life doing so. We'll see how much Earthquake is going to do to this Mienshao. It might kill after burn. I was going to kill before burn.
Yeah. So I guess the knockout there. So 2 knockouts for Wesley that turn and 1 for Matt. Interesting that he didn't choose to Mega Evolve Manectric there, saving it for Charizard, I guess. But that's one thing about Manectric, I guess, is compared to the other good, or I guess really like most of the other good Mega Pokemon, is that it's really only good if you Mega Evolve it. So not doing a whole lot that game, but partially because of the great feint by Matt J. And, high skill cap move there, and he made it look really good.
But now Wesley is up 3-2.
Yeah, up a Pokemon and down a game, so it's really crunch time for him, I think. Even though he's winning in this game, all the pressure's on him because, one wrong move to choke this game up, the tournament's over for him. So he's got to be really careful in turns like this one, especially against Pokemon on the other side that are generating quite a lot of threat here. Zapdos could potentially have Hidden Power Ice, and I'm almost positive his does have Hidden Power Ice. So they could take out either Charizard or Garchomp if left, unprotected, and Kangaskhan.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a double protect here, just defend against the fake out.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has to, unless he's really going to get cheeky with the predictions here. We finally see the Mega Evolution, I guess. With Manectric down, there isn't too much choice.
And there's not a fake out nor double protect. And a Thunderbolt coming down to Charizard, that's going to KO it. That's a huge move for Matt.
Yeah, I can't help but think that probably wasn't worth it for Wesley there.
You see it's a Life Orb Zapdos.
Oh, and both Pokemon end up getting KO'd there, just for a Dragon Claw.
That's a huge turn for Matt, and that quite possibly could be the match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not certain I understand Wesley's play there. I mean, I don't know if protecting would have done much to stave off the inevitable there, but rough way to play it.
Gardevoir with 53 HP is not going to survive very long.
Yeah, it should be the slowest Pokemon in the field here, so either of Matt J's Pokemon can finish this one off, and we're going to have a new regional champion. It doesn't look like Wesley's going to be able to repeat here. An impressive and perhaps surprising victory for Matt here. Really impressive run that he's had in this tournament. I know he's had a lot of runs where he was close a few times. I know he's 6-0.
And there we have it. Matt J. Matthew Carter is going to be our 2014 St. Louis Regional Champion. He's going to win a Nintendo 3DS, 2 boxes of trading cards, a $250 Visa gift card from Yeti Gaming. That's a lot of prizes for the Pokemon Regional.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be the regional this year, but it's the most individual prize from. So congratulations to him, and Wesley won't go home empty-handed either. I know he gets a extra $100 Visa gift card from Yeti Gaming, which is highest second place prize anywhere in the country this year. So can't complain about that.
And we'd like to thank Yeti Gaming for running this event and providing the prizes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool as a player. I mean, both of us ended up at the commentating booth instead, but part of the fun of the tournament is trying to win the prizes, and it's that much more exciting when the prizes are higher. So really cool as a player to see that they did this, and appreciate it a lot.
So again, congratulations to Matt J.
Congratulations to him. Like I said, it was a pretty impressive run. I know he went 6-0 at Fort Wayne and ended up missing cut, so kind of cool to see him rebound from that and come out and make the top cut this time and go all the way.